This is the ultimate guide to Nautec. Everything you can see behind me is under the ocean, and we're going to be playing with laser beams and body augmentation, along with a load of other amazing tools. The first thing you're going to want to do in Nautec is come to the ocean here. Most of the things we're going to be doing in this mod are centered around the ocean, doing things underwater. In fact, it's all underwater. This mod was actually created in only 3 weeks for the Mod Jam CurseForge event. The developer told me themselves, and I can't believe what they have achieved in such a short amount of time. This mod is really spectacular and quite special. I've never seen anything like it. You will generally spawn with a Nautec guide here. If you don't, that's because the mod pack that you're playing it in has turned this option off in the config. What you want to do is come underwater. Now, as you can see in this deep ocean, we can't really see much. And there is something you can do to actually help with this already. And that is making the diving suit. So we've got a diving helmet here, allows you to see better underwater and gives you some knockback resistance, etc. This is made from copper and glass. The chest piece is made from copper and brown polymer. Brown polymer is made from dried kelp and brown dye. Brown dye is made from cocoa beans, and dried kelp is made from smelting up some kelp in Minecraft. That's vanilla, if you've forgotten. So one thing to mention here, you are going to want to bring some items with you when you first go deep sea diving, looking for the thing that we're going to be looking for. One of those items is going to be kelp. I would recommend you make a diving suit. I would recommend that you bring some hoppers with you, and also a heart of the sea. In order to get a heart of the sea, you need to get it from buried treasure. The location is marked with a noticeable red X on a buried treasure map. How do you find those? That is found in an ocean, ruins, and a shipwreck. And that is vanilla Minecraft, remember. You can actually feed raw cod or raw salmon to a dolphin, and that will cause the dolphin to swim towards the nearest buried treasure, shipwreck, or ocean ruins. So bring a heart of the sea, some kelp, hoppers, and of course your diving suit. So we know how to make the brown polymer, kelp and brown dye. We can also make diving leggings. That's going to be again from brown polymer, and the boots as well. One thing you can also make, if we look at the diving chest plate, is going to be pressurized air bottles. You can right click a glass bottle on a bubble column to fill it with pressurized air. And that is literally when you find these. When you find these magma blocks underground and I'm running out of air, you can just right-click your water bottle on there and then get your pressurized air bottle, and too late. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. Let's actually have a look at what the pressurized air bottle does. Right-click with a glass bottle on a bubble column to fill with pressurized air. Either craft with the chest plate, which I just showed you, or drink while wearing the chest plate to increase oxygen level. And this is a way of actually keeping oxygenated when underwater. So what are we actually looking for? Well, we're looking for this structure here. This is a deep sea ruins. What you're going to see generally is some dark prismarine and an aquatic catalyst, and it will say status inactive. What you want to do is mine this catalyst as we're going to be using it. Now, we're here on the ocean floor, and I'm going to go into spectator mode, because what you will find under these ruins, under these dark prismarine ruins, is this here. A little cave, or a geode kind of situation, with a big crystal in it. So just for reference, there is the dark prismarine ruins. So it's not always directly underneath, but it is pretty much underneath it. Whatever you do, do not break this crystal. That is, you're not going to be able to get it back, basically. It will shatter. There is a way to get it later, but not right now. Another item that you actually might want to bring before you get down here is a crowbar. How do we make a crowbar? Well, it's some lapis, blue dye, and some cast iron rods. cast iron ingots are made by blasting an iron ingot in the blast furnace. And what the crowbar lets you do is open rusty items, rusty crates to be specific. So in here, what you can see is we've got some scaffolding around us. There's also a crate here. If we look inside the crate, you can see I can't get into it. So I can use my crowbar to open it. And sorry, I misspoke there. You use the crowbar to open any crates. If we right click on the crate with the crowbar, you can see it opens. And now I can loot it. Inside, you might find some brown polymer, or you might find something really useful, which is an aquarine steel compound. More on that shortly. Let's just see what else we've got in here. So another crate over here. I'm going to open that up. And there's another one. I'm going to open that up. In here, we've got loads of aquarine steel compounds and some prismarine shards and some pressurized air. In this one, we've got some cast iron ingots and some sea pickles, etc. There's also some barrels lying around, which may also have some aquamarine steel compounds, etc. And oh, some rusty gears. Now, there's the rust I was talking about. What we've got in here, again, we've got some aquarine steel, and there's a rusty crate. Now, you'll notice with the rusty crate, I can't open it with the crowbar. So, what we're going to look at next is how to get rid of rust on items. So remember that you actually mined up that aquatic catalyst from the ruins above us. Well, this is where it's going to come in handy. What you're going to do is, see this crystal here? Well, you want to position your catalyst, and I'm just going to get like some dirt or something just to, let's get oak. Make life easier for myself. And can you see here, I can line up my oak logs with the top of the crystal here. So what you want to do is line up your catalyst in the middle, in the top, so it should be there. I think that's correct. And then you're going to right-click the back of it with your Heart of the Sea. Then what we're going to do on top of it is put a hopper. In the hopper, you're going to put in some kelp. And this is what is going to power the aquatic catalyst. You can see here it says remaining duration, how much it's transferring, which is 7 power, and it's processing X amount of kelp, and it's active. So now we're going to see a laser coming out. If you put this any lower, it will not work. The developer has told me that they are actually working on making it, well, likely, he said possibly or likely, that they're going to do it so that you can do it at any height. But at the version I'm working in, you must put it at this height here. So at the top of these kind of corner crystals here. If you put it one below here and power it into here or here, it's not going to work at the moment. So if you're watching this 6 months after the video has been made, then maybe you can use it at any height. That is unknown at this point. But it will definitely work if you put it at this height. So make sure you fill it up with kelp. It uses about 1 kelp, as you can see, every sort of 5 seconds or so. And there's a laser coming out the bottom of the crystal. Now I'm just going to fill up this area so there's no water around, just to make life easier. Now that I've cleared out the water, it's a lot more obvious what's happening. We've got the laser going in, and it's also coming down and up. So what we can do is harness this laser power. The first thing we're going to do is get some of these aquarine steel compounds. So we found them in the chests, but you can also make them with raw iron and prismarine crystals, and that'll make 2 aquarine steel compound. If we throw this into the laser here, you can see something is happening. There's loads of smoke, and what these are actually going to do is they're going to be transformed using the power of the laser. And as you can see here, we now have aquarine steel ingots. And there you go. You have successfully transformed something using the power of the Nautec laser. Now that we've gotten some aquarine steel ingots, let's actually have a look at what we can do with them. So to start off, there's a few things you're going to want to make. One of them is going to be the aquarine steel wrench. This is needed to actually configure some of the machines we're making. And another one, ignoring all of this stuff at the moment, is going to be the prism monocle. This actually goes in your monocle slot, or you can put it on your head slot. It needs a prismarine crystal and 4 aquarine steel ingots that we've just made. With the monocle, what this is going to do is, as you can see here, if I click this button in my inventory, this little button here, it opens up the slots. There's a battery slot and a monocle slot. So I can actually put my monocle in the monocle slot here, which is awesome. You can also put it on the head slot if you don't want to, but there is actually a specific monocle slot. Now, when I look at the crystal, I can see the power and the purity that we have in our crystal. So it allows us to see things regarding the Nautec mod. So, as you've already seen, we have some rusty gears. And there's actually a few pieces of rusty items we're going to need. And that is from, or for, the mixer. This is the next item we're going to make. It needs some polished prismarine. It needs an aquarine steel ingot, a whisk, and a gear. So the whisk, you can see it says item etching from a rusty gear. And the whisk will need to be made from some cast iron nuggets, which remember we showed you how to make cast iron, and a broken whisk. So there's actually a few items here that we can get. There is the ancient valve, a burnt coil, a rusty gear, and a broken whisk. These ancient machine components can be found in chests and are dropped by underwater mobs. So underwater mobs that you're going to get, like those, the drowned and the guardians and any underwater mobs, basically. These are going to drop these items, or you will be able to find them in underwater crates. So before we're able to actually make the mixer, there is, of course, the rusty crates. So to enable to get rid of the rust on them, what we need to make is some etching acid here. The best way to make it is going to be in the mixer, but we can't make the mixer yet because we haven't found those tools. And of course, we need to actually de-rust some items in order to make it. So there is a way you can make it beforehand, and that is making an etching acid bucket. That needs a poisonous potato, some gunpowder, some bone meal, a water bucket, and a pufferfish. Get all of these items, put them into the crafting grid like this, and you'll get an etching acid bucket. So let's say I've got my etching acid bucket, and I'm going to pour it into the floor like this, which looks absolutely disgusting. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a rusty crate, which I can't open my crowbar, remember. I cannot open the rusty ones. And I'm simply going to throw it into the etching acid. And you can see some fire molecules there. And you will get back a normal crate. And we can now open the normal crate with our crowbar. And that is how you can get rid of the rust on the items. So we can put our rusty gears that I found in my crate. I can throw those in here. And again, you can see the fire bits going off. And a few seconds later, you will get some gears back. And I think it takes 8 seconds for these ones. Oh, there they are. They've popped out. So I've made them into gears. So there's the burnt coil. There's the rusty gear, the broken whisk, and also the ancient valve. These are the items that you're going to get. So the ancient valve, you will be able to turn into a valve as well via item etching in your etching acid that you can throw on the floor. So you just throw the items in and it will get rid of the rust. May take you a while to get these. You may be wandering around in the ocean looking for crates, or you may be going and killing drowned, etc. to get those items. But once you do, we can then make the mixer. Again, it needs one gear and a whisk. A whisk is again made of a broken whisk. You can make into a normal whisk with some cast iron nuggets. So what we're going to do with the mixer is we're going to place it under this beam here of the laser. So as you can see now, it says power 7, purity 3, and the laser is going into the mixer. But I'm not going to do that. So let's look again at our etching acid. We need some salt water, some bone meal, some gunpowder, and a pufferfish. So I'm going to get my bone meal. I'm going to get a pufferfish. I don't really need to narrate this bit. And what you're going to do is you're going to right-click an item into each side. So from this side, I'm going to right-click the gunpowder. And you can actually see it in there. Can you see in there? It's in there. It's on the opposite side of where I placed. And then I can't put anything on this side again. I go to the next side, I put in the pufferfish. I go to the next side, I put in the bone meal. And you can just see the little items in there. So you put one item in each individual side. And on the final side, we need our salt water. So I am in an ocean biome. And if I get a water bucket, obviously that puts water down. But if you actually bucket up water in an ocean biome, you're going to get salt water. This is actually salt water flowing down, but any water that is in an ocean biome, like this water over here, you will get salt water, not water. So that's the final item. I'm going to right click in the salt water, and you can see here using, I think this is showing jade. The jade add-on is showing this at the top. I've got the gunpowder, the bone meal, the pufferfish, and the salt water in here. So again, you just put one item in each side. Now, what you're going to see here is that nothing is actually going to happen. So can you see it says power 7? Well, we need at least 10 power to make the mixer. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to need to increase the power of this laser. In order to do that, we'll need another aquatic catalyst. For the aquatic catalyst, you can actually make more of them using polished prismarine and dark prismarine pillars, which is just prismarine and dark prismarine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get another one on the other side of my laser, of my crystal. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place the catalyst, put the hopper on top, feed it with some kelp, and then use my Heart of the Sea on the opposite side, so the back of it, to laser it into here. And now you can see the power is 14. Now, if you've just done what I've done and you're going, well, it's still not working, it needs to re-trigger the recipe. So you could just right-click on the side you put an item in. For me, it was this side of gunpowder, and it will give you that item back. So it's given me the gunpowder back, and I put it back in, and now it will work. So if you don't put enough power in, and the recipe is still there, it won't realise that it needs to just like readjust. So just take an item out, and then re-put it in, and it will then work. So it needs to make sure that it has enough power before you put the recipe into the mixer. It's taken a few seconds and it's mixed it all up, and now we have some etching fluid in here. So I can use my bucket and I get out etching acid bucket. The benefit of doing it like this is that things are more efficient. We don't need the extra poisonous potato here for the mixing for the etching acid. You can also put in 1 prismarine crystal and 2 raw iron to get 5 aquamarine steel compounds, rather than 1 raw iron and 1 prismarine makes 2. So it's more efficient. You can get 5 from 2 rather than you'd get 4, and you'd need 2 prismarine crystals. The other liquid we can make in here is electrolyte algae serum using dried kelp, slime balls, prismarine crystals, and seagrass and some salt water. You will make the electrolyte algae serum as well. And what do we do with that? Well, we can upgrade some tools that we're going to make with it. Before we move on to tools, there's this one slight tiny little thing I didn't mention. With your derusting and stuff, the coils here, you purify just like we did with these items. To make the ingots with the laser, you don't derust those ones, you purify those. So now we're moving on to the second category, which is aquamarine steel tools we're up to. And these are really, really cool. So basically you can make them with a laser channeling coil. In fact, let's look at this in JEI, which is the burnt coil that you purify. Again, you get these from, this is one of the materials you get from the crates and also underwater mobs. So we can make, and with the aquamarine steel ingots, we can make a sword. Ability, deal 70% more damage and spawn lightning at targets. You need to infuse in algae serum to unlock the abilities. And that is the algae serum that I showed you before. So you throw your weapons into the algae serum, just like you threw your rusty gear into the etching acid. This is how you activate the tools. You throw them into the electrolyte algae serum. So with the weapon, it's a really cool weapon. It does 7 attack damage, but if you throw it into that algae, then it will deal 70% more damage. You can also see it can be powered up. More on that in a second. There's the axe, where you can chop down entire trees once you've thrown it in the algae. There is the steel hoe, which can till 3x3 farmland. The steel pickaxe can mine in a 3x3 area. The shovel, again in a 3x3 area as well. So how do we also charge them up to use them? Well, that will be with the charger. And that is here. Again, it needs a laser channeling coil, which you can get again from looting crates and mobs. That's a burnt coil. Purify it under the laser into a laser channeling coil. Let's just do that together, just because we haven't done it together. So we're going to throw some into there. It's going to purify them. And then once they're purified, we can take those and we can put them together with some aquarine steel ingots, etc. to make the charger. The charger, similar to the mixer, we're going to place down under the laser. You can see it's got power 14. Let's say I want to charge up my aquarine steel sword. So I'm going to first activate it. So let's get a bucket of electrolyte algae serum and throw in my sword. There we go. And you know it's done because the algae will actually disappear. So I can pick up my sword. That has it now has its ability, and it says shift plus right click to enable. So I shift right click and you'll see it's not enabling. We need to charge up our sword. So we've placed the charger under the laser, and we can just right click our sword into the charger, and it is now going to charge it up. And you can see if you're using the Jade add-on at the top, you can see very small, a little bar is filling. So just wait about 5-10 seconds and your weapon will be fully charged. There we go. You know it's fully charged because the smoke has sort of disappeared. I can right click and get my weapon back. And now, if I shift right click, you can see it says ability enabled and disabled, and the icon of the sword actually changes, which is really, really cool. And that is how we are going to make our weapons, charge them up, and also activate their abilities. If you need to recharge it, well, you can simply put it back in a charger with a crystal. And that would go the same for all of the tools here. The next thing we're going to talk about is automating how we get salt water. And for that, we're going to use this deep sea drain. So, a deep sea drain. We're going to need 8 deep sea drain walls, just using cast iron, and a deep sea drain, needing a valve and some aquarine steel ingots. Valves, again, are used by finding an ancient valve in a crate or mob and throwing it in some etching acid. So, what we're going to do here is, I'm just going to swap an area, make an 3x3. So one thing to mention, this is only going to work in an ocean biome. And by that, I do mean deep oceans, cold oceans, anywhere in the ocean, this will work. The same way that when you get water buckets under the ocean, you will get salt water, but you won't anywhere else. This will only also work in the ocean. Now, there is a slight criticism I have about this part, and I think this is my only criticism for the entire mod. We are going to be using a laser junction for this, and potentially some laser relays. And I'm going to show you how to use those in a minute, and why it's a criticism. So I'm going to put my deep sea drain in. We need to power this just the same. And the default for this is going to be 20 power. I think, is that right? Yes, the drain needs 20 power to work. So we put the sea drain in the middle. So you put the wall all outside. The drain goes in the middle. We're then going to shift right click the center drain, and you can see it's not working. That's because I think we need to do it with a... Oh, it's crashed. What you're actually going to do, my apologies there, is right click it with the aquarine steel wrench. I was dealing with some crashes there and shift clicking with my bare hand. So aquarine steel ingots to make an aquarine steel wrench. Just right click it in the middle with that, and it will activate it. So what we can then do is I can shift right click it to open and shut it. It's a really, really cool animation. As you can see, now it's opened, and I can shift right click on the center there, and then I can shut the drain or open it to a different side. Either way, once you have made this block and activated it, we need to actually put some water around it. So it does work, obviously, only in ocean biomes. However, because of how I get power to it, it doesn't really work in the way that I wanted it to. So the 3x3 above it here must have water above it. So I'm going to put water buckets here, 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 in the center as well, etc., etc. And then what you need to do with your wrench is decide which way is going to power it. So on the side of the wall, we can right click to make this little hole here. Or I can right click on this side and it will go for this side. It'll only go out from one side, and this is where you're going to be powering it from. Now, this needs 20 power to be powered. So what we're going to have to do here is direct the power of our lasers. So each one makes 7 power. Okay, each one makes 7 power. So I'm going to put my hopper on here and get my kelp in my heart of the sea. And remember, I'm going to hit it on the direction opposite of where I want it to go. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. Hopper on top, kelp in here, hit it on the back of a heart of the sea. That's 14 power. Now I'm going to put one above. Oh, here it is, perfectly. You can change the direction by just hitting it. I'm going to hit on top because I want it to bottom. And what I'm going to put in the middle of these where they meet is this little thing, a laser junction. So this is made with a heart of the sea and some Prismarine laser relays. Relays are made like this, very simple. Prismarine laser relay is a block that allows you to extend the range of your lasers. Make sure to point the arrow in the direction. It is crafted using 6 blocks. So it's a default of 16 is how far it can go, and these will extend it. The laser junction is a block that allows you to split the beam. So what we're going to do here with the laser junction, you can see there's no actual power coming out of these. So I'm going to make sure that my laser junction can accept it. I'm going to get my wrench, and I'm going to right-click the side where I want the power coming in. So it says power 7. I'm going to right-click this side too, so the power can go in, which is now power 14. And I'm going to right-click the top, which is a power of 21. So right-clicking of a wrench is the input. Shift right-clicking is the output. So I'm saying input, input, input. Shift right-click here to output the power in total into my deep sea drain here. Make sure the drain is open so that the lid on it is actually off. And what you're going to see is it says fluid stored, and that is obviously going up. So it must have 20 power. So that's how you use multiple catalysts to power something that needs more. To actually extract your salt water, because this is what it does, it makes a load of salt water. You can use a bucket in the drain at the bottom, and you can see how many buckets are in here, or you can use a pipe, for example, from Mechanism or Aurotech, or whatever mod you're using. I'm going to use the Aurotech fluid pipes. Really simple. I'm just going to click it on the bottom, right click it to extract, and then get a tank. And as you can see, the tank is now filling up with salt water. And this is what the drain will do. It will just take loads and loads of salt water out indefinitely. It must be in an ocean biome. Don't forget to right click the side you want the power to go in with your wrench. You must make sure it's got water above it in every slot like this, and shift right click or right click it is with the wrench to make sure that it is open. Now, you can use it obviously in water under the sea. The only issue with that is these laser junctions. You can see when I place the laser junctions underwater, they just float away. Can you see them all floating away? Meaning you can't place these underwater, which, because I kind of need to use multiple of them to power the junction, I've my bases now. Oh my goodness, I've lost it. It kind of means that it's much better, in my opinion, to just do it somewhere like this where you just have it full of water on top. But it must be in an ocean biome. So it must be in an ocean biome. You can't use it in a forest biome and put the water on top. It must be in the ocean. But because of the thing I just showed you, it is easier to just do it like this. and that is the sea saltwater drain. The next item we're going to look at very quickly is the Prismarine crystal shard. This is a very useful item used to make powerful things in the mod. In order to obtain them, you have to use your aquamarine steel pickaxe with its ability enabled and mine a prismarine crystal. Make sure that it has more than 100 power, as this is the amount it needs to preserve the drops. So make a aquamarine steel pickaxe. Then we're going to get some algae. And we're going to drop the pickaxe in to make sure it is actually powered. Or it can use its power, should I say. I'm going to right-click my catalyst to turn it off, and then right-click it again with the part of the sea to make it go back into the crystal, so we've got power for charging. Take my newly enhanced pickaxe, charge it up, take it back. It's got more than 100 power, so we're all good here. And now we can mine the crystal. What you must make sure you do, though, guys, is shift right-click your pickaxe to turn the ability on. So, and then mine it. And boom, you're going to get... I got 6 Prismarine crystal shards. So make sure you turn the pickaxe on, remember. Otherwise you will be, in not good. So make sure it has more than 100 power and make sure it's turned on. So now we're going to get Prismarine crystal shards. Now these can be used for a few items. A long distance laser, which can transmit lasers up to 64 blocks away. And we can also make some cool gear. Aquamarine steel chest plate, helmet, etc. And these increase protection for you when powered. You charge them up just like you would with your weapons in the charger. And it can also make a prismatic battery. The prismatic battery here, using the Prismarine crystal shards, you can charge this up in the charger, but remember in this little slot here, you've got your monocle, you can also put your battery in here, and it will passively charge your weapons and armor through the battery that you can put in that slot. Now that we've got these as well, we can make the piece de resistance, which is augmenting ourselves using an augmentation station. I did prepare one of these earlier, but I can't remember where, to be honest. So this over here is the Augmentation Station. This is a very powerful tool that we can use to augment ourselves. Now I'm going to break it just to show you how we make it. Break it to show you how we make it. So the first thing in the middle is going to be the Augmentation Station, like this. I'm going to break it all apart from... You put the Augmentation Station in the middle. What you can do is go into the guide, go to Laser Augmentation, click on Augmentation Station, and click the little eyes, and you can place the multi-block. So we're going to get Polished Prismarine, and I'm going to place it around the Augmentation Station. So here, 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 and here. And then I'm going to get some aquamarine steel blocks, which is just 9 aquamarine steel ingots. I'm going to place it here, 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 and here. So it looks like this. Then we're going to get some Augmentation Station extensions. You need 4 of them. The recipe does actually make you 2 of them. You only need to make the recipe twice. We put them here, 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 and here. Lastly, what we're going to do is get our wrench, I believe, and right-click the center block, which will actually make it into the multi-block, the Augmentation Station. Now, you can technically do up to 4 augments at once with this, but it needs a lot more power, so there's no need. What you're going to do is go into the extension and put in a claw robotic arm, needing some aquamarine steel ingots and some cast iron rods. So I right-click on the extension, I place in the claw, and you can see a claw has literally appeared. There are 4 different augments you can make. Player augmentation. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So there's the Guardian Eye. That gives you the ability to shoot a laser at the entity you're looking at within a 15-block radius. There is a keybind for this, so check your keybinds. The item can be obtained as a rare drop from Guardians. There's the dolphin fin, which gives you dolphin grace effect while swimming, allowing you to explore the waters more efficiently. It's a rare drop from dolphins. The drowned lungs. They allow you to breathe both underwater and on the surface, and it's a rare drop from the drowned. And the eldritch heart. This increases your regen underwater. And it is also required for building the Augmentation Station. This is obtained from Elder Guardians. So when I go into the Augmentation extension again, what I can do in this bottom slot is place, for example, the Guardian Eye. So I place it in there, and then all I do is walk on top of the Augmentation Station, and this little UI will pop up. It says Eyes, and it says the Guardian Eye, and I press Apply. On my character, oh, and you see it literally dropping down and augmenting me with it, with the claw. And now I will have the effect. If I go into game mode survival, well, doesn't really matter for this one. Can you see in my head, I literally have the Guardian Eye implanted into my head. Wow, this is like cyberpunk. I can press B on my keyboard, and you can see I have the dolphin fin and the Guardian Eye, because I already done the dolphin fin earlier when I was testing. This shows you the different augments you have in your body. Now, if you don't have any, I've tried doing it with all of the augments in here, and it didn't work. Maybe user error, maybe not, I'm not sure. That's why I'm doing one at a time. But if you also have nothing available and you go into the UI, it just comes up with, like, it shows head, eyes, body, and you can click them all, but nothing happens. So what I've done is I just put it in one at a time. So if I put the Eldritch Heart in here and then jump again, now it comes up with the heart and the item, and I can press apply, and it will reach down with that claw and put an Eldritch Heart into me, which sounds lovely, doesn't it? So do one at a time in case of that happening. So to actually make this work, you are going to need 25 power. So what I've done here is I've actually used a creative power source, but I've also used, obviously you could use catalysts like this. You'd need 4 of them because it needs 25, and then use your inputs and outputs again with the laser junction. So it'd be input, and let's do it. Show you. Kelp, and again click with a heart of the sea on the back end of it, so on the back here, so it goes into here, etc. And then what you want to do is right click each side so it inputs with your wrench, and then I have shift right clicked the output on the bottom going into this laser junction, input on the top, output here, input here, and output here, and it goes into the bottom of the extension. That's how you power it. And you need 25 power to be able to power this, okay? And you only need to put it into the side that you're actually using the claw with. You don't have to put it into all sides. Put it into this side if that's the side of the claw and the item in that you're augmenting with. And that is the Augmentation Station. The only other item in the mod right now at the time of filming is the Neptune's Trident, but I can't see any way of getting that, so I'm not sure if that is actually implemented at the moment. But that is the entirety of the mod of Nautec. The developer has told me personally that there are big updates coming with this. So if there's anything, if you're watching this video in 6 months after it's been released and you're not sure about anything, or there's extra items in there, just literally comment on this video and I will make an updated video for it. Like I said, the mod was made in 3 weeks, which is very, very quick, and it's a really, really cool mod. And there really isn't many mods out there that are actually enhancing the ocean exploration, etc. So it is really good. It's on 1.21.1 at the moment. If you did find this video useful, please click that subscribe button. I do loads of mod guides on the channel. If you go to my channel, you can see here it is there's a top shelf with everything. Then there's tech mods, there's magic mods, and I'm also going to start doing mod spotlights as well, which are actually not a guide per se, but actually just showing you kind of what is in the mod as well. So do subscribe, as I'm trying to cover all of the mods, and let me know in the comments as well what other mods you would like to see if I haven't already covered it.